Hi, this is Mark News from Plant Talk Radio. Thanks for subscribing and listening to our podcast, Your Gardening Questions from Plant Talk Radio. To help keep this podcast free, we're partnering with Stokes Seeds. Pre-plan your indoor seed starting program with the help of Stokes' 2017 Gardening Guide and their online articles. Whether you're adding texture through foliage, choosing a new variety for a splash of color, developing an existing garden, or starting from scratch, Stokes Seeds has some great catalog and online resources to help you through the process. Enjoy gardening tips and gardening trend forecasting from their garden writers and favorite chef. More than just a listing of vegetable and flower seeds, the Stokes Seeds website is a complete resource center with valuable information on seed starting, planting, harvesting, plus all the gardening accessories you need to make your garden the envy of the neighborhood. Get growing with Stokes. We'll have more to come from Stokes Seeds in the next few weeks. For now, today's gardening question. We did get another email question having to do with seed starting, and this came from Dave, and he says, I wanted to start a wildflower patch in my backyard this year. When can I plant those seeds, or would you start them indoors first?
Okay. Depends. Part of that answer depends on how large a patch he's talking about. If he's talking, call it 20 by 20, then he could conceivably get enough plants going properly to do them indoors and put them out again. I would wait until about the 15th of May. However, if he's going more than 20 by 20, 400 square feet, I would seed directly. Now, I have listened about an experiment done by a highway department, and I don't have all the details, but I know at one point they went out and, let's just say, cut the tops off of a bunch of stuff that was along the roadside and then seeded the wildflowers into it. Well, hello, it was a waste of time and money. They finally learned to go in with a rotavator, cultivator, whatever, and work up that soil at least 3 inches deep, as you would for most anything else. And deeper, of course, would be better. Then the next thing is wildflowers. Many are annuals that seed themselves, of course, and then many are indeed perennials. And it takes, from what I've been told, about 3 years to get a wildflower garden going. So I guess I'm saying that to Dave as a matter of caution. Don't give up too soon. Do cultivate the area you're going to plant, and I don't think I would over-improve the soil, because most of the roadsides that have wildflowers, most of the wildflowers in the prairie never had any attention from mankind in the first place. So I would not overdo the situation. However, I would still, in his case, probably run a rototiller through 3 or so inches deep. I would not hesitate to throw some compost in that area or buy some material. I would not hesitate to use approximately a 10-6-4 fertilizer scattered over the surface at the recommended rate on the bag. Even to the extent if he's not going to a large area, he could use a slow release type that would keep the seedlings coming on. Then I guess I would advise caution in the selection of seeds. Do buy something for our, I'll call it, marketplace. There are several good wildflower seed companies out there. I can't name any right at the moment, but I know they're out there. They compete with each other in multiple thousands of seedlings and so on. So caution there. Do get the area worked up. You will get, I don't know how many hundreds of kinds of weeds coming into that area, but so too are the wildflowers coming along. Some of what we would call a weed may well be a wildflower. So for that first year or two, except for thistles and something nasty as that is, I would let the plants grow. And then you come to cutting them down, out in the prairie. It used to burn off, etc. But, Dan, I would encourage you to do that. Have fun with it. Be patient with it, because it takes about 3 years to get to the crop that was pictured on the container. I mean, you have to give it time to work itself out, plus your efforts, and then do a little reading up, because I can only help you so much. Many, many years ago, a church bought a considerable property that they used initially to get going, and then they had what to do with that back 40, so to speak, and they planted it in wildflowers. It was magnificent. However, when it comes to enjoying wildflowers, know that depending on the mixture you buy, you may have to look up to the flower. You may have to reach up to pick it, because some of the prairie blends are really tall, vigorous plants. So
it may also look like a patch of weeds for a while.
They do.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, they look much like a patch of weeds. I can't name it, matters not. Right near Columbus, on the northwest border, there is an old cemetery that the state of Ohio, I guess, became heir to, and they have intentionally started a wildflower garden there that is truly magnificent, almost so dense you can't read the old headstones, and something blooming all the time. I've only been by it a very few times, didn't even know it existed until 2 years ago, but it's quite a thing. So, Dave, have fun. But read the packages and follow directions, a little tender loving care, and then lots and lots of patience. And I think you can have a beautiful area.
And not really to give us a commercial here, but one of our sponsors, Stoke Seeds. I was just looking at their wildflower mixes, and they even have a Midwestern mix. They have a Caliopsis mix.
Yep.
And then they have one that I find is interesting. It's for pollinators. It's called their bee feed mix.
Well, that would. If you're going to try to help nature, that's where I would go right now, because bees are being decimated by their own problems,
oh boy. Yeah.
As well as mankind stepping in there and so on. And one of the ads that was run for Stokes said they've been around for several generations. Several, as best my math will do, is 7. Counting a generation as 20 years, they were originated in 1881, so we're 17 years into the 6th plus generation, and that's quite remarkable in many, many ways. So heavens knows they would know their seed, they would know what's in their blends, and that would be a good place for you to go, Dave.
Yeah, if you want their catalog, just go to stokeseeds.com, or you can go to planttalkradio.com and get some more information. But I thought I'd pull that up, because they have and they have them for also categorized for different parts of the country if you're looking at a wildflower mix.
Okay.
Hey, thanks again for listening to the podcast. Remember, you can pre-plan your indoor seed starting program with the help of Stokes Gardening Guide and their online articles. For the best selection of vegetable, flower, and herb seeds available, go to stokeseeds.com. Cultivating successful growers for generations.
Circle270media.com